To ensure victory, the final rally will include some special fireworks developed by Firefly.
Welcome back to Retro Wednesday at the Titanium Hanger. This is Mike, and today I want to talk to you about my whitening project of storm shadows. I could whiten 11 of them, I guess, is how many. Now, I've got varying different degrees of success with this, and I was never going to set out to make this video. I was just doing it as one of my side projects. Like I say, I've got like 90 projects going on. I'm constantly working on stuff, and if people like these kinds of videos, these kinds of projects, I'll make more of them for Retro Wednesdays, because I actually don't think a lot of people want to watch my content on stuff like this. I think they more like the toy ploys and that kind of stuff out there. But anyway, let's get into taking a look at this. I'm going to go through the process. I didn't film everything I did with this. I'm actually doing this and retroactively going backwards, so I will show you what I can show you. The comparisons are not going to be quite as stark comparisons. So let's get into this. Whitening storm shadows, the pluses, minuses, the good, the bad, the telltale signs they've been whitened, all that good stuff coming up. Alright, so the product I use is called Salon 20 Volume Cream. I use the cream because it clings to it better. If you use the liquid, you need to completely submerge it in a jar. And I've actually reused the liquid a couple of times before I had to like dump it out and start with a fresh batch. But the cream is better for, I just think it's overall better. But it's possible just to use the liquid and get a good result. So, and the different types of plastic, liquid might be better. In fact, I haven't tried one of these, whitening one of these in liquid, so I might need to do that. So anyway, here's how you do it. All right, so you take your raunchiest looking storm shadow parts. Now, a couple little pro tips here I'm going to give you. Number one, if you don't want to fade, so this is painted, that's going to fade. Gotta go off camera. This here fades, so you need to use some Vaseline. The eyes, use Vaseline. I guess this one's already been whitened and is already going back, but eyes, you want to use some Vaseline on that. Nothing wrong with the waist. Pelvis is fine. Legs are just fine. There's nothing. But put a little bit of Vaseline on the symbol. Now, one of my symbols I did the Vaseline and it still smeared off. And then it also got on other parts. You had to scrub it off later. But yeah, so I'm not sure if you can see how yellow these are. But these parts here are the least yellow of all my parts before the whitening. So then you add, and I'm not going to do it right here, but you add the cream to it, add on the cream, and then you wrap it up. Now what you want to do is wrap this up to be like airtight, and you want it fully covered, every bit of it covered in the cream, like usually kind of something like that. And then wrap it up, and then get all the air out of it, and then fold the ends off. Now generally, then I put it in the sun. I left them in the sun for 4 days, and I put something to weigh them down because there's a lot of wind around here, so make sure you got it weighed down. I've had something blow away while I was whitening before. My wife found it, thank goodness. But anyway, there it is. There's the whitening setup. But of course there'll be the cream in there. I don't have the cream in there, obviously, and you need the UV light or the sun to start the whitening process. Okay, so here is the end result, and I will say I'm not sure if the camera's picking it up that well, in all reality, but maybe I should get some tool over here for some pointing. A pointing tool. Since I reviewed an Optimus Prime yesterday, I have another Optimus Prime to review today. I want to point out that I did not whiten this head. This is one of the best heads I had, and we'll get to that here in a little bit. So that head's not whitened, but the chest was whitened. Or maybe the chest wasn't. A couple of these I didn't whiten everything. So yeah, that head and that chest were not whitened. And I believe that chest might not have been whitened either. Because once it came out, it turned out a couple of the ones that I whitened were broken. Like the hole that accepts the screw was broken. So there's a few things with this. I'm kind of pleased how they turned out. we'll kind of do some comparisons to a before and after here in a little bit, because I have a sort of a before one, and it's kind of a sad story. Now look here, this is the one that's smeared. I'm not sure if the camera's picking that up, but it's smeared. Yeah. Now look at his elbows. So the elbows got widened, even though I taped them off. I didn't put any Vaseline on it to save it. Now you can touch that up with paint if you choose to. Obviously, if you're going to resell any of this stuff, if you do this to resell it, not for your own personal collection, you need to disclose to the seller or the buyer that you have touched that up with paint. So the reason is because this whole piece here is cast in white, and then this is painted. This whole piece here is cast in kind of a flesh tone. Maybe say it's like a peach, right? And this is painted. That's why the cuffs are always still white, because they were painted. If it was painted head to toe, it'd still be white today, but it'd be scuffs and paint here and there. But another alternate thing you could do, you could paint one of these. You could just paint them white. But I've seen people do that and it work out. I've seen people do that and it not work out. So anyway, as it stands, I would rate these in whiteness, not above an 80. This one might be like an 85, these two. So I'm trying to pick like the whitest ones, and that's these two over here. And if you're wondering why they're standing in that position, they're doing the Macarena. Nah, it's just they're standing with folded arms. Okay, now I want to show this head I used. For sure I didn't whiten it. I'm starting to feel like I didn't whiten the chest. But once I start getting other pieces out, we're going to see the before and after in a way. And it's going to be eye-opening, the before and after. But anyhow, want to point out that with this, the eyes are a telltale sign that it's been whitened. And even though, like, I know the trick, you put the Vaseline on. I put Vaseline on all their eyes, and they all still came out losing the pigmentation of the skin around the eyes. This one here wasn't whitened. And to say that this was the nicest one of the nicest heads, I set aside a lot of the nicest heads and the nicest parts to keep from this whitening process. And there's another downside to the whitening, so we're going to get to that here in a little bit. But then you can see the Vaseline did work on his chest piece, and this chest piece just is that's just naturally that worn. As you see, the rest of the paint goes along with it. This one was still pretty nice, but still pretty yellow. So that's an issue, and that's weak kneed issue. So stand up. Both these had whitened arms. As you can see, he lost his pigmentation there, but my process of taping it off saved one of the arms and slowed down the degradation of some of the other arms. So that was good too. Another thing that I'm noticing, and I don't think this will show up on camera, but I'm going to show it anyway. Maybe I can enhance it in editing. This one came out okay. I would rate him a 60. But if you look at the knees, look inside there. Look how yellowed that is. So I whitened them kind of laying flat. So the legs were all laid flat. I didn't take apart the legs. You can take apart the legs and whiten them. And then the back was probably more severe of the yellowing, because these things were rough. These things, yeah, the before and after picture would have been a whole lot better, because what I have to compare it to were the best pieces. And now these are better than the best pieces. But anyway, that knee thing, you're going to notice it didn't get whitened because it wasn't exposed to the UV rays, because it was blocked by the other parts that were currently getting whitened. So I think this one worked out the best in the whitening. This one not quite as well, but it does have that head on there that was not whitened. It was one of the better heads I have. Now here's a torso showcasing how yellow, but this torso was better than anything that went in for whitening. So when I sorted them all out, I said, well, the torso, I could take it apart and all this, but it's actually nicer than anything I'm putting into whiten. So that's how big of a difference it made. And I mean, we're talking a big difference. So it's hard to tell when you're just kind of go from memory. And I didn't take a picture of how bad these were to start. Now the waist piece is very obvious. Now this waist piece here, as I laid them all out, was nicer, was whiter than any of the waist pieces. And I think the waist pieces, and to a degree most of the legs, did the best. They came out the best. But look at that waist piece. Look how yellow it is. Try to showcase it like that. Maybe it's a little easier to see. But look how yellow this waist piece was. And this one was nicer than any of the ones that I whitened. And so with that, and I did kind of keep, because there are some nicer wastes, whiter wastes that I held back because they were just pretty white already. But this one here was the worst that I kept, but still better than all the ones that went whitened, so it was definitely worth the while. And you may ask yourself, how did we get here? And you may ask yourself, why are you doing this? Well, Storm Shadow's my favorite figure. And I have been trying to get the whitest ones possible. I need between these two here. These are unwhitened, and I just took the parts from all these other figures as I went along to get them white. Now, as I add those other 11 into this collection here, it's going to make a difference. And I'm already noticing, so these here were never whitened. And now with the light that I've got on them, I'm not sure it's going to show. So it's going to look like the back row is even whiter than these, which were good parts that I thought were pretty decent all along. So it's quite impressive, the whitening process. This is kind of another before and after. Again, this is another one that I thought was good enough that didn't need to get whitened. And so with that, you can see it's still pretty yellow, but just kind of showing some before and after kind of stuff. Was it worth doing? Is it worth doing this to your figure? If you can keep the pigmentation from going away, then it's definitely worth doing it. If you're okay with your eyes being completely whited out, because the Vaseline didn't help, it's okay. You should do it. You can do it. But I mean, how yellow can you stand your Storm Shadow being? With now this being my yellowest one in my collection, then it is what it is. But with that, do you want a super bright white one? Then whiten it. But will it stay white? I have absolutely no idea. But we're going to end this video out after I put all these in my display, and we see how that looks. All right, we're going to end this in shaky cam, but there is the end result display, the very front one being the yellowest. And they vary. They vary in color, condition. I have all of these in the back were the ones in this whitening. Some of the ones on the side kind of hiding behind there. These here have not, most of them in the middle here haven't been whitened. One of them has a whitened head. And then as you get to the front, these are ones that I pieced together with unwhitened. They were already pretty white to start. So did I set out to do this and get this many on purpose? No. I've been picking them up, buying lots, buying collections, but I don't like getting rid of or selling off Storm Shadows because I like them. So far, this is the best looking one that I've got. The whitest. It's getting drowned out by this light, but it is the best looking one I have. But these are some good contenders. I have another project coming up that I'm going to use one of these. I'm going to decide which is the best for that project. Of course, probably figure out what that project is, but it's going to take a lot of time, a lot more money, and all that good stuff. And then for those people that are like, well, I just want one Storm Shadow, there's like 50 or 60 of them on eBay right now. Go get you a yellow one and whiten it, or get you a really nice one and pay up like $100. I mean, that's the choice. That's where we're at in life. We all make choices and collecting choices. If this helps you, let me know in the comments below. If you want to see more content where I do some projects like this, where it's just kind of like things I'm doing and working on, I'd be more than happy to make those videos. But when I used to make those videos, nobody cared. So anyway, like, subscribe, and Titanium Hanger out. Alright, so this is my Cobra Commander collection. I'm trying to get to focus. I'm going to be doing a room tour here pretty soon, but a lot of these are straight arms. And it was harder than I thought. And the thing is, I wasn't really going after this many Cobra Commanders either. There's another one up here. But I'm going to need one for my project. In addition to having, you know, a straight arm, an 82 and an 83 that are, you know, original, complete, and all that kind of stuff. But you know, broken wastes and all that, that's challenging. But yeah, I bumped into a really cool dude at one of these conventions, and I think it goes by Yojo Jeff or Jojo Jeff or something like that. And he collects Cobra Commanders, and he says he will not sell a Cobra Commander, and that's funny. I don't collect them like he does, but that'd be fun to show it.